Kia ora, and welcome to the second instalment of the Lightforce Solar Series. Thank you for joining us, particularly those that have joined us for the second session. My name's Joel Bowden, and I'm the Commercial Solar Manager here at Lightforce. Today, we're taking a deeper dive into how we specify a system and ensure this is right-sized for you and your property. At Lightforce, we don't have standard systems or system bundles, instead create a bespoke solution that fits your personal needs. By the end of today, you'll have a high-level understanding of how we do this and the steps involved. We'll again hear from Luke today, as well as having Dan, one of our senior sales consultants, take you through a brief journey of system design. We'll aim to wrap up the webinar as close to 5:30 as possible, and apologies again for the slight delay. Following this, there'll be a chance to speak with one of our solar consultants on the ideal system for your home. I encourage you to make the most of this by clicking the link at the end of the presentation, which can also be found on the email received from us earlier today. I'll now pass you over to Luke to get things underway.
Kia ora, everybody. My name is Luke. I'm the founder and the MD here at Lightforce. We decided to do a second session after last week was so successful, and congratulations to our winner last week, Tom Trotter from Christchurch. He won a $15,000 system. That's pretty amazing. So I think one of our team has already scheduled that in for installation. So congrats, Tom. I just wanted to quickly, I've only got 2 minutes before I hand you over to Dan. So I just want to quickly talk on what we're seeing right now with the economics of solar. So given that interest rates are so low right now, if you've got a $270 power bill or more, if you were to top your mortgage up at 3% or less, it's cheaper to repay your system than to pay your power bill. And another example, right now with the ANZ term loan, if you were to put $30,000 in a term loan at 5 years, returning somewhere around $2,000 over 5 years. And if you would put $30,000 on your roof, the return is about 6 to 8 times the amount of putting it in a term loan with the bank. So we're really seeing the economics just accelerate with panel pricing coming down, interest rates dropping. There has never been a better time to go solar. And after last week, we've had record inquiries, so we thought, let's do it again. And yeah, what we're going to unpack today is a real life demo of system design, putting the panels on a roof and showing you exactly what it looked like in real time. And then from there, we can break out into break zones. You can all, live with a consultant, go through your own home. So hopefully at the end, stick around, go off into the break rooms and see how much you can save. So I'll hand it over now to Dan, and yeah, thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for that, Luke. We're going to dive straight into our design software now. This is our Aurora solar modeling tool. And this is going to give you a bit of a flavor for what you're going to chat through with the solar consultant, either after this call or whenever you schedule that in. Well, here it is. So we've built a model of your home in our Aurora solar modeling tool that fits your home and all the surrounding potential shading influences. And we use this technology to ensure that all the panels on your roof are going to see the sun, for certain times of the day, for the entire year, summer through winter. Okay, so we get a really, really good idea considering all of the different shading influences around your property, like the trees around. And we can take an average of this as well by clicking this irradiance map here. And you'll see that a load of different shades come up on your roof now, from light orange all the way through to darker purple, and really quite dark colors around the trees and other shading influences and other aspects on your roof, such as this chimney here. So the TSRF is what we're looking at, that number there. And we'll come to the brighter section of the roof, which is typically your north-facing side. Okay, so you'll see that number down the bottom right-hand corner, 99%. Okay, so pretty much perfect solar irradiance there. So panels placed there are going to have a really good performance throughout the year. We can also look at a couple of other areas of your roof as well. We often do east-west splits for customers. Okay, so when we come to the easterly facing side of your roof here, we've got 86%, not quite 99, but it's still pretty decent. So we're going to size your system now by having a little look at your power bill. And what we can see, this number here, the 836 kilowatt hours or units of energy, is the total amount of energy that you used last month. Okay, and you'll see that here on the June 21 month as well. Now, one thing you'll notice about this is it's very, very high. Okay, it's a winter power bill, so we're not going to use that as the basis for our solar design. We're going to look at the average across the entire year and use a number of 20 instead, okay, for the total amount of energy that you're using every day. So you'll be using approximately 7,300 kilowatt hours or units of energy every single year, Luke. So what we do is we assume that most panels in New Zealand are going to be operating at about 500 kilowatt hours every year. It does depend on where you position it on your roof. So for example, if we positioned one panel here on the north-facing section, naturally it's going to produce quite a bit of power. Okay. So this panel on the north-facing section of your home is going to produce a total of 553 kilowatt hours per year. But if we put it on, say, that easterly-facing section, you'll see that that number changes because it's not going to be quite as optimally positioned for the sun. It drops to 447. So this is why we assume an average of 500 is a good rule of thumb per panel. So we can simply divide that by 500 and we get the total number of panels that you need if we were to match that average annual consumption. So let's see what we can do about putting 15 panels on your roof. Naturally, we would like to start on that north-facing section. Black frame, black panel, and black backing paper, so they look really nice and sleek on your roof. So that was 14 panels. Let's put one more on. You'll see that this system is a 5.8 kilowatt system with 15 panels. And we've got a total annual production of 7,163 kilowatt hours. Okay. Typically, this will achieve about 70 to 80% reductions off your power bill, but you may want more backup, okay, for your home, or slightly better saving results, more towards 80, 90, even towards 100% saving. And in that case, you'd need more panels.
I am thinking about getting an EV in the next sort of 12 months. That'll be my next car, an EV. Does that change things?
Yeah, absolutely. So we would definitely want to know if you did have expansion plans so that we could future-proof your system for you. Electric vehicles, they use, depending on how many kilometers you're driving, typically around 3,000 to 4,000 extra units per year. There's a few places we could look at here. We could continue looking at this eastern side here or here. We do have to be a little mindful about this chimney on the northern side. We can see quite a bit of shading there, okay? But we do have other places around the roof as well, like this section of northerly facing roof here, where we could potentially fit another 3 panels.
So where does the battery go?
Yeah, the battery can go inside or outside. We typically place it as close to the switchboard as possible. Many customers like to have their battery inside their garage or in a carport or a utility room, but it can go inside or out, and it's fully IP65 rated.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Dan. You've done a great job to wrap that up in a 10-minute slot. Before I pass you back to Luke for the prize draw and wrap up, I just wanted to again extend the invitation for you to join us along with one of our solar consultants in the breakout rooms. This will be a one-on-one discussion about your home, and at the conclusion of this, you'll have a clear understanding of the performance of the system and the financial benefits of this. For those of you unable to join with a consultant, we'll keep the Q&A function open and answer any questions that you may have. Back to you, Luke.
So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and I hope everyone is safe during level 4. This is a great opportunity for everyone to run through what we just ran through on your own home and see what the saving benefits are. This is the first time we've tried this, so you might need to just bear with us, but we're going to try and break off into rooms and hopefully take you through it visually. So yeah, we're going to give that a go now. Thanks for everyone that has helped on this. We're going to keep the Q&A open, so I'll stay and answer any questions. So we've got one here. How does the charging times of the battery work? Do we have the ability to change the charging time? So great question. So depending on what battery you go for, if you go with the Energizer Home Power, the charge rate is 3.6 kilowatts, and that's the discharge rate as well. So that's the maximum it can charge and discharge at any one time. Yes, you have the ability to change the charging time. So you can set to charge off peak rates in the evening, depending on what power plant you're on. How safe are the batteries if located inside a basement, for example, and what is the battery lifespan? The batteries are safe. They're Lightforce 4 cells, so they're the safest on the market. We recommend a garage or an external wall. We wouldn't be installing them in a bedroom, but they're totally fine to be located. At the moment, there's no rules about where they can't be located, but we always recommend the garage or the external wall. Battery lifespan, so it's a 10-year warranty. At 10 years, we expect it to still be outputting about 83%. And total expected life's probably somewhere around that 15 to 20 years. Will your system still charge the battery or provide power to the household loads if the grid goes down? Great question. So thanks, Cam. So the system will provide power just to the critical circuits that we've chosen during the installation. So we won't keep the whole house running. So generally what we do is we pick a lighting circuit, a couple of power points, maybe the fridge, just some critical loads, and when the power goes out, those are the loads that will keep running. We're not going to try and keep the whole house running because the battery will just go flat too quick. I'm just trying to find if there's any more questions. Can't see any more coming in at the moment. Can I use an old sunbed above my solar panels at night to generate more power? I don't think you can there, Jody, unfortunately. It would be great if we could. What are the pros and cons of an AC microinverter versus a DC string system? So pros and cons, micro we would typically use if there was multiple roof faces. So generally a DC inverter has got 2 inputs, so you can have 2 different facing roofs, where a microinverter you can put over multiple pictures. Microinverters also, each panel operates individually, so if there's a lot of shading, then you'd go for a micro. If it was a nice northeast or a nice north roof, then generally you'd go for a DC. I think that's everything that's in there at the moment. Any more questions, keep firing them in. If you have a power outage, you have an EV car, can you hook the EV system to provide power back into the system to support the house batteries? Thanks, David. At the moment, it's coming, but there's still nothing out in New Zealand that is actually past certification and we're allowed to install in the home just yet. But it is coming. We would expect something to be here in the next sort of 12 months, 2 years. Yeah, I suppose it's just all about, do you have a garage? Is the EV going to be there at the time? So there's a lot of variables there. But yeah, we definitely see EVs being used maybe 5 to 10 years from now as sort of maybe the main battery in the night, and then the energizer would just pick up the energy in the day when the EV is not there. How do you care for your panels in the long run? Do they need to be cleaned and maintained? So very little maintenance. We generally just say clean with a brush probably once every 12 months. Generally, if the pitch of the roof is about 30 degrees, it keeps them quite clean just with the rain, but we do recommend just a light brush once every 12 months, which we can schedule in. We do have monitoring on all of our systems. So if the system goes down, we'll get an alert back at the office. And again, if the panels start to get dirty, we'll get alerted and we can give you a call and notify you, or you'll get the alert on your app so you know when to get up and clean. 12 months, you know, some people will go 2 years without a clean. So it's not something that needs to be done all the time. However, obviously different environmental things taken into consideration than if you're living near a dirt track or under a tree or somewhere where there is going to be build up, then you're going to need to clean them more often. Thank you, Suk. There's still 4 rooms available if anyone wants to jump through and do a design on their home. And the link is in the chat. Do you do any microgrid work, industrial sized installation? Hey, Alex, we definitely do industrial size installations. We are currently got a couple of huge jobs underway, over megawatt projects, a couple of even large ones in the pipeline. Microgrids, again, we haven't got anything that we've already done. We're working on some that are about to start. But yeah, it's a big side to the business is the commercial system. So if you guys do have a business or a commercial building where the usage is only in the day, then the payback on commercial is incredible. If one panel fails, will the rest still keep working? If it's a DC system, if one panel goes down, that string will go down. And again, because we're monitoring all systems using a third-party monitoring software, we'll get alerted, you'll get alerted, and we'll be able to get someone out there to fix that. However, I've never seen, none of our panels have ever failed since we've been going for 7 years. So a panel is very, very unlikely to fail. If anything's going to fail, it'll be an inverter. Something with the electronics in it is more likely to go, but it's very rare for anything to fail. Are your panels okay to be installed in salty environments or harsh weather environments? I don't know the different materials. Totally okay to be salty environments. We are often installing on beach homes and sea spray, so they are covered in a protective dip before they come out of the factory to protect them against rusting. Is the app a paid app subscription? The app is all included in the system cost, so we cover a lifetime worth of data. There's no ongoing costs. That's all paid for by Lightforce. Thank you. So it could be retrofitted at a later date. Yes, David, sorry, I missed that one. That can be retrofitted at a later date. No issues there. If something goes wrong with your system and the team comes over to have a look, would there be a call out fee or would it be free of charge? So if it was something wrong with the system, it would be totally free of charge. Obviously, if we get round there and the kids have turned it all off with their friends playing in the garage, we might have to do a call out fee. But if there's something wrong with the system, then obviously it's all covered under warranties and there won't be any charges. Are installers subbies or install covered by warranty, not just the product? We don't use any subcontractors, so all of our installers are employed by Lightforce, so you'll be no subcontractors there. If everyone suddenly decided to get solar panels, would there be an environmental impact? The solar glare pointing back upwards. I don't think there'll be any environmental impact there, Jody. I think we've... Any more questions, guys? What's my favorite dinosaur? Probably the T-Rex, I think. There's still a couple of rooms open if anyone wants to go in there. We are running the offer. We get the free sub unit, so 6.1 kilowatt hour battery. If you buy a battery unit, you'll get the 6.1 kilowatt hour for free if we get any commitments this month. If a system retrofitted into an existing house, do you select certain circuits to be supplied by battery? Does this involve rewiring the switchboard? Hey, Cam. So, yep, the battery will run the whole home when the power's on, but when the power goes off, it will just be running those select circuits that we discussed just before. So we'll pick a couple of critical circuits, generally a lighting circuit, maybe a couple of power points with the fridge and the Wi-Fi, but we're not going to run the whole home. And rewiring in the board, it's not rewiring as such. We're just going to adjust a few things and put a couple of extra circuit breakers on. If we're having an estimate build time of 9 months, when is the best time to get in touch with you? I suppose if all the plans are drawn up and everything's ready, if you're going to build it into your cost to build and you're going to borrow the money on that, then you probably want to get in touch with us when you're doing that. So if you've got the plans, get it through to us and we'll get a consultant on it, and then you can just factor into the cost of building. Is the free sub of that unit available if we have 2 systems, 2-phase house? I.e., do we get a 2 free sub unit? Matt, if you wanted to just jump through into a room and talk to one of the guys, they would just go through the finer detail on that. It totally depends what the switchboard setup is and whether it would require 2 batteries or whether it would just go onto 1. I suppose they would just need to have a quick look at the picture of the switchboard for that one.